A device used to locate the black boxes from the Boeing 737 that crashed off the coast of Indonesia is suffering from technical problems or equipment damage, according to officials. They say that the crew themselves didn't declare an emergency before the passenger jet suddenly plunged into the sea. There were 62 people on board when it crashed.
So the search for the black boxes continued today, and earlier the officials have said that they have located those black boxes. However, when the search team tried to discover the black boxes, their effort was hampered by a lot of debris underwater. So they are now trying to clear out the debris in order to find that black boxes. And we also heard today from the National Transportation Safety Commission that they will receive from Singapore a tool that will help them locate those black boxes.
FBI warning tonight about armed protests now being planned in all 50 U.S. state capitals and the U.S. Capitol, too, before and right up through the inauguration. And the group now threatening to attack federal, state, and local office buildings if President Trump is removed from office. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, tonight.
After those horrifying images at the Capitol, federal authorities warning of more potential uprisings. The FBI bulletin alerting law enforcement across the country that armed protests are being planned at all 50 state capitals through Inauguration Day. Intelligence pointing to an unnamed armed group calling for the storming of government buildings and courthouses if President Trump is removed before January 20th. The FBI saying the group is also planning attacks here in D.C. the day of Biden's inauguration. Threats also identified against Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Nancy Pelosi.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ordered the construction of 800 Jewish houses in the West Bank. The project has been given a go-ahead during the final days of the Donald Trump administration, the United States of America. The move comes days before U.S. President-elect Joe Biden is set to be inaugurated on the 20th of January. Netanyahu's office announced that about 800 homes would be built in the settlements, but no starting date has been specified as of now. Palestinians have condemned the construction, calling it illegal.
U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo plans to use newly declassified intelligence to publicly accuse Iran of having ties to al-Qaeda on Tuesday. That's according to two sources familiar with the matter. The Trump administration in recent weeks has increased pressure on Tehran as part of a last-minute offensive before leaving office. With just 8 days left until President-elect Joe Biden is inaugurated, sources say Pompeo is expected to offer newly declassified U.S. intelligence that offers details on allegations that Iran has given safe haven to al-Qaeda leaders and support for the group. That's despite some skepticism within the intelligence community and Congress. Pompeo has accused Iran of links to al-Qaeda in the past, but is yet to provide solid evidence.
و بقیه دانشمندای هسته مصاحبه کنن، در حالی که خود حضرت آقا مخالف با این مصاحبه بودن. شخص اصلا من نمیگم، آقای کریم قدوسی گفته، شخص رئیس جمهور دستور مصاحبه با این.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has been hosting the leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan. This as he urges the arch-enemies to negotiate further steps in a peace agreement that has ended weeks of deadly fighting over the Nagorno-Karabakh region. The Rare trilateral Kremlin talks with the Armenian Prime Minister and the Azerbaijani President are the leaders' first post-war meeting to discuss the implementation of agreements signed last November to end the 6 weeks of conflict over the ethnic Armenian enclave.
Actually, the talks have just ended after 4 hours. We haven't got a statement yet. We don't know exactly what was agreed. We've heard from Putin that the meetings were useful, they were fruitful, but we've also heard from the Armenian leader, Nikol Pashinyan, that the issue of the return of prisoners of war hasn't been resolved. And that was one of the key points for the Armenian side coming into these talks.
Malaysia's king has declared a state of emergency at the request of the country's embattled Prime Minister. Muhyiddin Yassin says additional powers are needed to stop a surge in COVID-19 cases. The country is reporting on average more than 2,400 new infections every day. Critics say it's an attempt by an unstable government to cling to power. Muhyiddin says the declaration is not a coup.
Well, Muhyiddin Yassin, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, has been facing a leadership challenge for months since he came to power, unelected, in a power coup that started late February of last year. Now, the leadership challenge comes not just from politicians within the ruling alliance, but also from the opposition. Opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim had said last year that he had majority support in parliament and that he should be the next Prime Minister.
As California and other parts of the U.S. reel under the relentless onslaught of COVID-19, a new vaccination superstation opened in San Diego. The facility is meant to provide 5,000 vaccinations per day. On Monday, California recorded more than 30,000 deaths since the pandemic began, with the number of hospitalizations now increasing rapidly.
We are in the middle of a surge right now. There hasn't been a top yet.
More than 1,100 people in the state died over the weekend, a new 2-day record.
Attention, attention, code blue.
Hospitals in the region are trying to cope with a crushing number of patients and beginning to plan for rationing care.
I've seen more people pass away in the past week, in the past couple weeks really, than I almost like it combined in all of my career as a nurse.
And starting with news from the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has said that the country was in a race against time to roll out coronavirus vaccine as COVID-19 related deaths continue to rise and hospitals run out of oxygen. Johnson's advisors have warned that pandemic's worst weeks were imminent, and this as authorities have been struggling to contain the fast-spreading mutant COVID strain. Cases have been increasing in the UK despite strict restrictions. The COVID death toll has surpassed 81,000.
Very, very hard, I can tell you. We're trying to get this vaccine right. But it's a race against time, because we can all see the threat that our NHS faces, the pressure it's under, the demand in intensive care units, the pressure on ventilated beds, even the shortage of oxygen in some places.
India's Supreme Court will halt the implementation of controversial new agricultural laws. Farmers have been blocking roads and protesting around the capital since November. They say the new laws will undercut prices.
Hello, Kim. So the Supreme Court has said that it is suspending the implementation of these 3 farm laws in light of the opposition to them, and that it's also going to form a committee to assess the situation both around the laws and the protests themselves. The court said that it's forming this committee to resolve a situation that the government has not been able to, and that anyone who is genuinely interested in solving this problem, where we've seen hundreds of thousands of Indian farmers blocking 3 major highways coming into the Indian capital for the last 6 weeks, that anyone who's interested in solving this problem should appear before the committee, which will submit its report to the court.